Well, hello everyone. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to show you the beauty and show you all the different charms of the island of Cuba in all of our main destinations that will be included within the 12th edition of the flight brochure. My name is Duneski Gonzalez and I'm the Deputy Country Director for Cuba, and in the next half an hour or so I will be covering the details about three of our top destinations, while tomorrow we're going to cover a little bit more related to other two destinations that are located further to the east of Cuba. But I wanted to start first with this map of Cuba that is very simple, and hopefully it will clarify to you geographically where we are, the location of some of these main destinations that we have in Cuba. So before we go into the excursions, into the packages, into the specifics of the excursions that it will be selling on our Sunwing Airlines flights, I would like to first introduce the island of Cuba to you, and I will concentrate on those destinations that we will be covering as part of our presentation of the excursions that we will be selling on the brochure. Right, first of all, you can see Cuba is a very long island. You're looking at about 1,300 kilometers to go from the western tip of Cuba in the province of Pinal del Rio. This is where we have those tobacco plantations that have made us worldwide famous, up to the east of Cuba, where you will see the province of Guantanamo, also very famous all over the world because of the U.S. naval base that is still here. So it's an important part of the history of Cuba. You can see the Bay of Guantanamo in here. But going from west to east, you will see Pinal del Rio in here. You can see the location of Havana, which is the capital city of our island, founded in 1519. So it's about to celebrate its 500th anniversary next year. So it's a special time of the year in Cuba to go to Havana, to get to see Havana and all the beautiful things that we're doing there to make it a special celebration next year for the anniversary of the foundation of the city of Havana. You're going to go a bit further to the west, and we're going to stop by here in the area of Varadero. You can see Varadero, as you know, it's our top destination in Cuba. We drive a lot of volume into Varadero. We have nearly 50 hotels that we operate there in Varadero. Geographically, it's very important to see that Varadero is close by to Havana. So we're looking at about 2 hours, probably 2.5 hours on the transfer buses or the excursion buses that go from these hotels in Varadero up to Havana. The airport is very close. It's just like half an hour from the airport to the hotels that we have here in the peninsula, right? We keep going further to the east. We pass by the province of Matanzas. We're going to stop by the area of Santa Clara, which is another place where we fly with the Sunwing operation, with Sunwing Airlines. Santa Clara is the capital city of a province located here. The airport is very close. The airport is located only 10 miles from the city of Santa Clara, and then driving all the way up to the north, you're going to see those little Cayos in here. This is where we have Cayo Santa Maria. So we're looking at something like 110 kilometers. That is going to be about 70 miles to go from Santa Clara, the main city here, and the airport that is close by, up to the area of Cayo Santa Maria, which is where we have all of these beautiful hotels, and especially those beaches that will become so important and will become one of the highlights of our customers and their experience in this beautiful part of the island. Right, we're going to keep traveling a bit further to the east. We get to this province, the province of Ciego de Avila. There will be a causeway here, and this is the island of Coco. Cayo Coco, which is again one of our top destinations. We're going to be talking about packages that we also have for the excursions that we promote in Cayo Coco. The good thing here is that the airport is right there. The airport is only like 20-25 minutes from hotels located in Cayo Coco, and there are also resorts that are located in Cayo Guillermo, which is a bit further to the west, 20-22 miles west of Cayo Coco. you're gonna see Cayo Guillermo, where we also have hotels, and we have a beach there that is called Playa Pilar. I will be speaking about Playa Pilar a bit later, because one of our top excursions in Cayo Coco will be stopping by and having Playa Pilar as its biggest highlight, right? So we keep going further east. We have Camagüey. We have some hotels as well on the northern coast of Camagüey, but we have to make a full stop here. This is Holguin. Holguin is located in the eastern part of Cuba. It's quite a long way from Havana, by the way. It's about 500 miles from Havana to get here to Holguin. The airport is located here, just 8 kilometers south of Holguin. You will find the airport of Holguin. That's where we land on our Sunwing flights. But then the hotels will be located up here on the northern coast. We have the area of Playa Guardalavaca, Playa Bosquero, Playa Esmeralda. All of these places will be those where we concentrate the resorts, and all of the activities will be taking place around here in the area of Holguin up to this little island here that is called Cayo Sayatia. And I mentioned this place even though it's a little place in the eastern part of the province, because one of our packages, one of those that I'll be talking about when we get to Holguin tomorrow, is going to be the Bay Adventure going to Cayo Sayatia, this little island that is worth every minute that you spend there. It's just a place that will always stay in the minds of the customers as one of their highlights, one of the highlights of their vacations when they come to Holguin, right? And finally, we're going to go southeast. We're going to stop by here in Santiago de Cuba, which is very important for us Cubans. It's a place where the Cuban Revolution had its final stage in the 1950s, so you're going to find a lot of history there, a lot of culture, a lot of Caribbean rhythm and Caribbean traditions, because as you can see, Santiago de Cuba, out of all these destinations that I've mentioned before, is the only destination located in the southern coast of the island, right in the Caribbean Sea. So it's going to be pretty interesting to introduce this in our program for the in-flight brochure, and definitely it's gonna help us boost a destination that is a little bit difficult when it comes to capitalizing on sales, right? So this is Cuba. Today, we're going to concentrate on the center and west of Cuba. We're going to go to Cayo Coco, Cayo Santa Maria, and also to Varadero as part of this presentation related to the island of Cuba and to the excursions that we can promote here. Some excellent packages, I have to tell you. We have a very good selection of excursions that you can sell to our customers and promote to the customers that will be coming to Cuba. Before we go into specifics on excursions, it's always important to say that all of these destinations that I've mentioned, Varadero, Santa Maria, Cayo Coco, Holguin, and Santiago de Cuba, they will have someone experienced teams that will be taking care of our customers, that will make sure that they are well taken care of. And obviously, when we speak about the excursion sales in flight, we'll make sure that all of these packages are honored and customers are well assisted to participate in those excursions, right? So having said that, having given you this introduction to Cuba and a bit of an overview on this spectacular island of Cuba, let's go into Cayo Coco. Let's just try to show you a little bit of the beauty of Cayo Coco, which is this island located in the central part of Cuba. Cayo Coco has developed in the last 25 years as one of our main touristic destinations. We have different packages there, and we'll tell you the highlights of those excursions, and I will also try to give you those important selling points that you will have in each and every one of those excursions, right? I would like to start with Playa Pilar, and probably you remember when I was speaking about Cuba and showing you the map, I mentioned Cayo Guillermo and Playa Pilar as one of those places that I would be covering when we speak about Cayo Coco, right? Playa Pilar is a beach that for me, well, arguably is the most beautiful beach of Cuba. Personally, I've been lucky enough to be all over Cuba and all the different beaches. I've seen a lot of spectacular beaches on this island, but Playa Pilar is out of this world. It's something different. It's an island where the sand is like powder. and every single customer that goes to Cayo Coco at some point will always be planning to go to Playa Pilar. What we've done is we have compiled a package that is bringing excellent value for money for the customers. It's a simple package, but even as families can go there, even couples, if they want to have like a beach that is a little bit isolated, and a beach that will have no equal to whatever they've seen in the past, they will have the chance to participate on the break at Pilar, right? You will see on the inclusions of the excursion that there is nothing too fancy or too special about this, but as I said before, it's a place where people want to go, and we guarantee for the customers the transport. Cayo Guillermo and Playa Pilar is located about 20 to 25 miles from Cayo Coco. So for customers to take a taxi, especially from the Cayo Coco hotels, to take a taxi there and back is going to be a much higher cost than if they simply participate on the break at Pilar. They will have the beach chairs guaranteed, and this is a good selling point. They will have beach chairs guaranteed in on a beach that is obviously very popular. People want to go there. People want to get to see this distinctive feature of Cayo Coco and Cayo Guillermo. We will guarantee the beach chairs, and they will have lunch included in a nearby restaurant that is seafront, beautiful location. All of these will be included in the package. So it's very good in terms of distance because you will not have to travel much. The furthest hotel from Playa Pilar will be, as I said before, 22, 25 miles from this place. Customers will have an excellent package in a place that will be embedded in their minds for the rest of their lives, and I'm sure that when they come back to Cayo Coco, they'll want to go back to get to see this place. So we have this opportunity to take them there and bring some of their best memories of their holidays, of their vacations as they go on their break at Pilar, right? It's suitable for families, suitable for couples, totally safe. You can walk a lot into the beach, and it's going to be shallow, it's going to be crystal clear waters. Simply spectacular what you can get to see there in the break at Pilar. Right now, we have some excursions in Cuba that are like our franchise excursions, and I will be mentioning here two of them with Cayo Coco, two excursions that you will get to see in all the rest of the destinations that we will be covering in Cuba and all of our major destinations. This one is the Catamaran Full Day. The Catamaran Full Day is the perfect match for customers that like to relax. They do have a lot of facilities and a lot of inclusions and a lot of places and facilities to enjoy at their respective hotels. But what if we take them out? What if we make it different for them, still relaxing, still having a very quiet day out, and we combine it with the snorkeling session that we provide on the Catamaran Full Day. Snorkeling in Cuba is going to be a selling point at every beach destination. We have excellent snorkeling anywhere you go, beautiful coral reefs. Some of them are classed as some of the top coral reefs in the Caribbean area. So this is going to be one of our excellent excursions to offer to the customers. It's very local. So the catamaran, the marina where we take the catamarans are just located a few miles away from the hotels. And for me, the big selling point is relaxing, is being out on a boat, relaxing with some entertainment from the staff as well, with very good value for money. Because when you look at all the inclusions and when you look at the experience that the customers will have, it's definitely going to be one of those excursions that customers will appreciate and will bring this excellent value for money if they simply want to relax. But there will be more. There will be people that will prefer to get to see Cuba. When you speak about the Cayos, and in this case about Cayo Coco, you're talking about a resort that is located no less than 25 to 30 miles from civilization, basically. There's nothing in Cayo Coco apart from hotels and beaches. Beautiful hotels, spectacular beaches, but there are people that want to see more. There are people that come to Cuba. Some of our customers, they don't want to spend a whole week at a hotel. They want to get away from the hotel. They want to get to experience Cuba. They want to get to see how the people live, what the people do, and the Jeep Safari will be the perfect package for them to have a little bit of adventure, to be a little more active, and also to see Cuba, to see one of these little villages in the middle of the countryside with a little school, with the kids going to school, with the farmers and their daily activities. The Jeep Safari will bring all of this, and as you will see, it's an excursion that, as I said before, will be a bit adventurous as we promote it, because they will drive the jeeps in a convoy of jeeps that will have a tour guide at the front leading the way and showing them around. The scenery is beautiful on the northern coast of the mainland in the area of Ciego de Avila, but they will also do some horseback riding. They will take some very good pictures. They will get to see the people. They will stop by anywhere they want to get to experience Cuba, and especially for customers that are secluded in destinations like the Cayos, the Jeep Safari will make the difference. When you show them what they cannot find anywhere around the hotels, obviously, guys, you're making their day, and you're making them see that Cuba is not only the beaches and the people, the friendly people that you will find in the hotels. These people, they live in those little villages, and that will bring a different experience to the customers, right? Now, franchise excursions. I mentioned this term before, and I mentioned it when I was speaking about the catamaran full day. But if there is an excursion that we have managed to bring to the top of this list, when we speak about an excursion that identifies Nexus tours in Cuba, we need to speak about the Cuba Sugar, Cigar, and Rum. We started with it in Varadero. We have been able to bring it all along Cuba to all of the main destinations, and you will see it here in Cayo Coco as an excursion that will have, for me, the selling point of the Cuba Sugar, Cigar, and Rum in Cayo Coco, and all the rest of the destinations that I will present afterwards will be Cuba, the history, the traditions, the essence of the Cuban people. Because when you speak about Cuba and you speak about sugar cane, sugar production was the main industry in Cuba for hundreds of years, and we had a tradition of producing sugar for many years during the colonial times when Cuba was a colony of Spain. We bring it all along these centuries up to nowadays, and customers will be able to experience this because they will go to a sugar cane plantation and a place that used to be a sugar factory. They will get to see how the process was done for so many years. Obviously, this is now a museum, the place that they visit with the Cuba Sugar, Cigar, and Rum, the sugar factory. But they will get to see how we managed to bring these traditions for so many years. And the same applies to cigars and rum. You know that Cuban cigars are the top cigars anywhere in the world. That's one of our Cuban prides. You go anywhere in the world and you speak about cigars, and you have to mention the Cuban cigars, all the different brands, the Cohibas, the Montecristo, the Romeo and Juliet, all of those. The customers will get to see how we do this. Cuban cigars, handmade, hand rolled, and this will be something that they will never forget, because you want to see the charm, and you want to see the this different touch that we use here in Cuba to get to manufacture those cigars that will go all over the world and will make a distinction when it comes to Cuba, its traditions, its history, and also one of those features that will bring Cuba to the world scenario. So this will be really interesting. Obviously, Cuban rum will be there as well. You know, we have some of the best rum in the world as well, and yes, it comes from a very proud Cuban, but I do have to say that we have some excellent rum that is produced on the island, and the customers will get to see this. The distance from the hotels to where they experience all of this, which is in the area of Moron, is no more than probably 30 miles all along. So it's not too far away. It's still in the vicinity of their hotels, and it will be a very good top combination of different things that, as I said before, we have managed to bring to the top of the list when it comes to of popular excursions, not only in Cayo Coco but all along Cuba. And we're going to be covering this a bit later when we get to all the rest of the destinations, right? So Cuba Sugar, Cigar, and Rum, definitely one of my top recommendations for the customers. It doesn't need to be couples. It's suitable for families as well. Families will not be allowed into cigar factories, but you don't do this here. What you do is you get to see one of those experts rolling the Cuban cigars, and that'll be very interesting, very good for families, couples, groups as well. For groups, that's been one of our very good excursions that we've been selling lately in Cuba. Right now, the only one is a package that when we speak about its selling point, I would say the value for money will be at the top of the list, right? It's as the name says it, the only one will combine different things. The customers are gonna get to see a little bit of the countryside. They will have the catamaran excursion with the snorkeling at the end of the day. So combining things that customers may not want to do on separate trips, the only one will become this excursion that will concentrate all of that. Will obviously bring great value for money for the customers, and it's going to be there as well as one of the excursions that obviously we always recommend for all of our guests coming into Cayo Coco, right? So we have spoken about Cayo Coco. Let me give you some information now on local currency and little things like tips for trips, as we call it, when customers go on excursions. The local currency we use, and that's important to know, because remember, customers pay in Canadian dollars for those excursions on the plane. But when they come to destination, they do have to change their currency, their Canadian dollars, if they want to use cash, into Cuban convertible pesos. They can do that at the hotels. Basically, every hotel will have money exchange available in reception or in the lobby area, where customers can exchange their Canadian dollars into Cuban convertible pesos, so that if they go to a restaurant or if they go to a bar, if they pay for souvenirs, any services they pay locally, and they decide to do it cash, it's always going to be in Cuban convertible pesos. All right. We do a lot of promotion for customers who purchase those excursions on the plane to buy other packages that we can offer here in destination, including those in the in-flight brochure, but also other packages that they can purchase here. And as we promote it on our program, they can do it with a 10% discount, and that means they have unbeatable prices for the excursions that they want to purchase in destination. Cuba is a bit different in this respect. Remember that all the pricing is controlled by governmental companies. They cannot change prices or sell a specific excursion at the price that they want. We basically have the same prices all across the board. Booking that excursion on the plane gives the customer the opportunity to come to us in destination, to our teams, to our reps, and have the best available price with this 10% discount that they can use here for the excursions that they book locally, right? So that applies to every destination, but I just wanted to mention it as we finished with Cayo Coco, so that you can have this as general information that applies to local currency and bookings in destination and all of that, right? Now, let's go a bit further west from Cayo Coco to Cayo Santa Maria. That's located a bit further to the center of the island. Cayo Santa Maria is another one of these cayos, located about, as I said before, about 65 to 70 miles from the city of Santa Clara, which is where we fly when we come to Santa Clara and to Cayo Santa Maria. We fly into the airport of Santa Clara, and then we have like a 2.5-hour transfer to go up to these hotels that we have in Cayo Santa Maria, right? Cayo Santa Maria has been developed lately. It's been 15 years, I would say. In the last 15 years, the top destination when it comes to development, when it comes to new hotels, when it comes to the overall development of the destination, this is the one. And here in Cayo Santa Maria, we sell again our franchise, our top franchise excursion, which is the Cuba Sugar, Cigar, and Rum. The essence is the same. We try to bring the same inclusions, just with a little bit of a difference in terms of geography, in terms of distances. Say, for instance, the Cuba Sugar, Cigar, and Rum in Cayo Santa Maria, from the hotels into the areas that we visit. The distance is a bit longer if compared to Cayo Coco, but you will not go any further than 45 to 50 miles. So it's going to be a full day out. It's going to be a full day out combining all of those important traditions of Cuba. It's a package that in Cayo Santa Maria is selling very well, and the feedback we're getting from the customers is simply excellent, because you can get to see more. And remember, Cayo Santa Maria has its similarities when it comes to Cayo Coco, because the Cayos, Cayo Santa Maria and Cayo Coco, will be far away from from the main cities. Customers do like it. Customers do like the hotels. The beaches in Cayo Santa Maria, among the best in Cuba, among the best in the Caribbean. But there comes a point when people want to get to see civilization. They want to get to see Cuba. They want to get to see traditions. And this is one of my recommendations for the excursion packages that we can offer to our customers in there, right? The Santa Clara City Tour. Remember, I mentioned Santa Clara before. Santa Clara is a very important city for us, because in 1958 it became one of the iconic places for the for the triumph of the Cuban Revolution. And everyone speaks about Che Guevara when they come to Cuba. The mausoleum for the history and the importance of Che Guevara for the Cuban Revolution is located there. It's a place that people do like a lot. So it's mostly a tour with a bit more of a historical value. It's a tour that probably for kids, especially small kids, could be a bit long, because from Santa Clara to the Cayos, from Santa Clara to the hotels in Cayo Santa Maria, you're talking about 70 miles. And as there is a bit of history, and as there are stops that will have their value concentrated on the historical information that will be provided by the tour guides, sometimes for families it could be a bit difficult, especially with small kids. I'm not saying it's not suitable. I'm just saying that probably for older people and people that are more into history, more into traditions of Cuba and the history of the place, which is very rich, that will be the perfect tour for those customers, right? This is combined as well with the city of Remedios, which is the closest important city to Cayo Santa Maria. So we're talking about 30 miles from the hotels to Remedios, and then an extra 40 to 45 miles from Remedios to go to Santa Clara and complete the full day for the Santa Clara and Remedios City Tour, right? We also have the Sun Cruise Catamaran. Basically, it's this catamaran excursion that will have the full day out, very relaxing, especially for families. It's very safe as well for kids. The catamarans are top class, excellent boats, brand new. You will have the snorkeling, but in the case of Cayo Santa Maria, and as you will see as well in Varadero, we have the interaction with the dolphins included as part of the package, and that brings a special touch to that excursion, right? Not only will the customers have the full day out with the all-inclusive on the boat, with the excellent lunch, with the seafood that they like so much, as well as part of this package, they will also have this encounter with the dolphins that people simply love, and they will have those 15-20 minutes with the dolphins that they will never forget, because it's I've done it many times, and it's simply something that you will bring with you for years and years as one of the best experiences that you've had, right? So the catamaran full day, or the Sun Cruise Catamaran in Cayo Santa Maria, suitable for families, suitable for couples, and again, excellent value for money because of the many inclusions that you will find there on that excursion, right? Now, adventure. We spoke about adventure before. We spoke about the fact that the Cayos are a bit far from the mainland, and the Jeep Safari is there as well in Cayo Santa Maria. For those people that like to be a little more active, like to come to the villages, to the little places, to get to see the Cuban people in their daily life. A bit similar to the one in Cayo Coco in terms of the essence of the excursion, but obviously places are different, scenery is different here and there, and the Jeep Safari that we organize in Cayo Santa Maria is also very good. Feedback is always excellent. Launch is very good as well. As part of the package, they do the horseback riding. They go to the river. They swim in the river. So very active day. And when you look at the price for the excursion against the inclusions and the experience that the customers have, simply excellent value for money as well on the Jeep Safari, right? So this is Cayo Santa Maria. Those are the top excursions that we have there. The two Cayos that we've mentioned before will have their similarities in terms of their location, the fact that customers are a bit isolated there, and that's a very good selling point. I would say that when you speak about the Cayos and you speak about the distance of the Cayos from the Cayos to the Cuban villages and the Cuban life, and something that people do want to experience, well, it is a selling point. Definitely, it's a selling point. People don't want to be isolated. People want to be in touch with the country that they've come to visit. Yes, some people will rather stay in their hotels, and that's where we have the catamaran excursions, for instance, to try to keep them in this environment that they prefer. But still, we have some attractive packages for those people that want to do this or want to do that, or want to be more active or want to be more relaxed on those packages, right? And this brings us to the final destination that we're going to cover for Cuba today. Last but not least, I would say, because Varadero is the most important destination that we have in Cuba. It's this one place where we drive nearly 40% of the total volume of the Sunwing experience operation in Cuba will be concentrated there. It's blessed by the beaches. It's blessed by the location because it's close to the capital of Cuba, and obviously that makes it a special destination to come. It's a place where we have over 45 hotels, so there is definitely a lot to do here in Varadero. With the in-flight program, it's a top-selling destination. It's got a wide range of activities that people can do. Now, let's speak about one difference from Varadero to the other two destinations that we've been talking about today. Varadero is in the mainland. Varadero is very close to important places. In fact, Varadero is a 25-kilometer peninsula with a downtown area that is like six kilometers long, where people can come and they can go to restaurants and they can buy some souvenirs. So there will be a lot more things to do at closer locations from the hotels. In fact, there are hotels that are located downtown in Varadero. So people will have this flexibility to be able to do a little bit more right around the area where their hotels are located, right? And obviously, when you speak about packages in Varadero, we need to speak about Havana. And before I go into specifics on what excursion, or if this excursion does this or that excursion does that in Havana, the big thing here is to stress the importance of making sure that the customers know that going to Havana is going to the essence of Cuba. Is going to a place that will show them, without a word, even though we have some excellent tour guides full of information that will give them all of the information about everything they're going to see. But Havana itself will tell you what we are, will tell you where we come from, will tell you where we're going. It is a city that will simply summarize what Cuba is like. And it's a shame to be in Cuba. It's a shame to be a couple of hours away from such a wonderful, such a unique city and not be able to make it there to this place. With the Havana packages, I would say we need to make people realize that they will fall in love with Havana. The good news for the customers is they will have different options. If they want to make it one day, you can see here the Havana one day. They have a full day out. They have a full day out with one of the tour guides to go to the highlights of the city, to get to iconic places in town like La Bodeguita del Medio or the Floridita restaurant or the old town itself with all the different fortresses and the castles and the music and the rhythm. So you go into the old town in Havana and you're going back in time 300-400 years. You will fall in love with it. You will not want to leave as the day finishes with the Havana one day. It's the best-selling excursion for Havana simply because some people don't want to make it too long. They just want to go for one day, get a flavor, get a taste of the city, and then make it back to the hotels. As I said before, we're talking about 2 hours, 2 hours and 20 minutes to get there to Havana on this Havana one day. Lunch obviously is included, but there is a lot of nightlife in Havana as well. There is this one place in Havana that is since 1939 has brought together all of the cultural trends and the cultural representation and the rhythms and the dances and the dressing and everything. And that's going to be the Tropicana show. Many of our customers want to go to Havana. They want to experience the city. They want to experience this distinctive flavor of the city, but they want to stay a bit longer because they want to make it to Tropicana, and they can do it in one day. If they do the Havana special, it's basically the one-day trip to Havana with the added value of going to Tropicana at night. They will have the opportunity to go to a hotel. They will share a room among 6 to 8 customers on the excursion. They will get to change, and they will go to Tropicana to get to see the show. Lunch and dinner is included on this one. It's simply a perfect combination. Value for money is excellent. The customers will find in the brochure that this is the most expensive excursion that they can book for Havana on the in-flight brochure. But hey, it's a very best in terms of value. If you were to make it to Tropicana only yourself directly to pay for the show, you're going to be paying 130 Canadian dollars, 140 Canadian dollars. And with this one, you have the full day, you have the information, you have the time to go to these places in the city that you like the most, and you will still have the show, which is simply unique. The show in Tropicana, I don't know how they've managed to do it. They are very talented people, but for nearly 80 years, Tropicana has kept this top-class show going on every night in the capital of Cuba, right? So a Havana special for those especially couples, because it's the Tropicana, the cabaret. They will not allow children or customers below 18 years of age. So the Havana special is more oriented to couples and adults, but again, it's one of our big highlights, right? Now, let's go a little bit more into those excursions that will provide the opportunity for customers to relax. We have the Sun Cruise catamaran in Varadero. In my view, is the top of all the catamaran excursions in Cuba, because the catamarans are top class. Even the marina from where the customers leave on the excursion, which is located at the very end of the peninsula. So we're looking at about a half an hour transfer for the furthest hotel from the marina. The marina is beautiful. There is like a little town there, like a plaza. It's called Plaza Las Morlas, that customers can get to see. And I'm sure that when they do have a look at Plaza Las Morlas, one of these days they will want to come back and get to enjoy the place. But the Sun Cruise catamaran for Varadero is excellent. The snorkeling areas are very good. There are two different spots where they go, depending on the area that will be better for snorkeling on the specific days that customers will go. The dolphins, the area where you swim with the dolphins, or you have the interaction, rather the interaction with the dolphins, will be far out to sea. It's going to be like an hour, 45 minutes to get to this place. So it's very natural. Some customers are a bit concerned, just because they don't want to see the dolphins trapped anywhere or anything like that. Well, you feel very natural in this place, and the interaction is excellent when they do the catamaran excursion, right? The island that we visit, the island where they will spend some time for lunch and a bit of free time in the afternoon, is called Cayo. Spectacular beach, excellent restaurant, and lunch is one of the highlights. Remember, they'll have the seafood options as well, which is always highly appreciated by the customers, right? It's a full day out. It's excellent value. It's a full day out, but customers will not come back too late because hotels are close by. Some hotels are just like 2 minutes away from the marina. Some others will be 10, 15 minutes. The furthest, as I said before, 25, 30 minutes. And even for customers, usually groups and families, they make reservations for a la carte restaurants, and they are reluctant to make bookings for those specific days on any excursions. Well, this one suits them very well because they'll be back in plenty of time to go on with any of the plans that they have for that day, right? Now, adventure. The Jeep Safari in Varadero will also have these distinctive values of being a little bit more adventurous, of going to the little villages. The good thing about this one is that right from the start, because Varadero is located very close to the little villages, customers will be driving those jeeps through the villages, through the little areas, through the countryside, and it's not going to be too long before they start to enjoy the excursion and the inclusions and the values of the excursion, even if they don't stop somewhere to do some snorkeling or to do the horseback riding, because you will be driving right from the start through those little villages. The Jeep Safari in Varadero is pretty good. It's a full day, and what I mean the full day is like a 10-hour excursion, because you leave from your hotels, the area or the place where you will be starting the excursion is no more than 15 minutes from the hotels, from the pickup. And then the tour guides will be stopping by at every place. There is an added value to that excursion at this time of the year, or from this time, which is the panoramic visit that they will do to the city of Matanzas, which is the capital province of where we are, 20 miles from Varadero. The city of Matanzas celebrated its 325th anniversary a few weeks ago. A lot of work has been done in the city, and it's much more attractive. So customers go to the city now, and they can get to see a city with a different flavor, a city with a fresher look, and customers will appreciate that very much. So it's a full day out. Distance is not too long to any of the places that you visit. There's a lot of adventure. There is the Yumuri Valley, which is fantastic, very green and very beautiful. There's going to be the Jeep Safari, the horseback riding, the snorkeling as well. There is swimming in a cave, which is something that you cannot do on any of the other excursions that you can get to do around here. So pretty good, and very, very good feedback all the time on the Jeep Safari, right? Obviously, we need to speak about the Cuba Sugar Cigar and Rum. Varadero is the place of birth for that excursion. We started it here. We started to look for perfection on the Cuba Sugar Cigar and Rum. The sugar factory, the museum, which used to be a sugar factory that you visit, is no more than 25 kilometers from the hotels, and it provides a very good combination of different things that bring people closer to our traditions, bring people closer to our history, and still they don't have to travel a lot, because the Museum of Rum that we have here, or the place where they can taste the rum and they do the rum and cigar pairing is very close to the hotels, and it's simply fantastic. We, as I said at the beginning, we started that excursion here. We managed to make it one of the top excursions in terms of quality. I would say it's on the top of the list. at the moment, and then we managed to bring the experience to the rest of the destinations, and it's working out fantastic for all the rest of it. Right now, there will be other packages going to Havana, for instance. In the case of the Havana History and Rhythm, people go to Havana. They don't want to. This is more oriented to couples, to adults, people that want to go to Havana because they want to go to the Tropicana show, but instead of taking them directly to the show in the evening, we give them a little bit of time in the afternoon. So that's an excursion that departs after midday, 12:30, something like that, from the hotels. Customers can get to see a bit of Havana. Customers can get to buy a little souvenir here, have a little drink in one of those top bars of the city, and then they go to Tropicana at night. And obviously, it's also very good value for money. If you look at the pricing for the excursion, the same as I mentioned with the Havana special, all of those packages that go to Havana and include the Tropicana show, they will have the very best value for money that customers can have to go to Havana and combine it with the show anywhere. It's just like the very best prices that you will find there for that excursion. Before I continue, I want to speak about one of the packages that is now included. It's a new excursion that we have included on this edition of the in-flight brochure, and it's going to be the Havana Premium. Please, guys, I want you to take some time to have a look at the Havana Premium, because last year we started to promote the excursion locally here, and nowadays we have driven a high volume of customers to the Havana Premium because of the excellent package that it brings. It's an excursion that will include visits to places that became famous in Havana thanks to the life and history of Ernest Hemingway in Havana. We visit the obviously the Floridita, which is the cradle of the mojito. We visit the old town, and as part of the visit to Havana in the old town, the customers will have the opportunity to go for a ride in all the American cars in the city, and that is simply one of the distinctions of that excursion. It's not the same as walking through the streets of Havana and seeing the cars all over the place and taking pictures and all of that. As you yourself go to that excursion, get into one of these cars, and you will take pictures that you will show all of your friends. You simply will not be able to forget your experience in the old American cars driving all around Havana, and that has been one of the excursions that in the last 12 months we have managed to sell very well, simply because the feedback we get from the customers is excellent, and it's an excursion that, in my opinion, is bringing probably the very best package for Havana, for customers that are not so much interested in the show at night, but still want to get to see Havana at night, because the Havana Premium will stay for dinner in Havana. Customers will have dinner in one of the local restaurants in the old town. They will get to see the cannon shot ceremony every night at 9 p.m. This is one of the long traditions of Cuba. You will get to visit this place, and again, it's great value for money. It's a combination of everything that you're looking for when you go to Havana, right there with the Havana Premium. So please take your time to get to see this and to get to read about that excursion as you see it in the in-flight brochure, because I'm sure that it will be one of the top selling excursions that we'll have there, right? In Varadero, but a bit further to the south, we have one excursion that is totally different from the rest of them, because the Tour to the Caribbean will be going southeast of Varadero. Remember, Varadero is located on the northern coast. Beautiful, spectacular beaches up here on the northern coast. Is like the Atlantic side of the island. But going south, going to the Caribbean, you will get to see the best snorkeling spots, the best coral reef that we have in Cuba. It's going to be in the south. It's a place as well where divers like to go a lot, but if they don't want to go all the way there to go diving, they take this excursion. They have the excellent opportunity to do the snorkeling. And also remember, this is located in the Bay of Pigs, so we're looking at something like 90 miles from Varadero, the furthest point that you go on that excursion. And the Bay of Pigs, it's very important for the Cuban history because of the U.S. invasion that occurred there in 1961. So it's history, it's the great snorkeling, it's something different because you go to a region of Cuba that you will not get to see on any of the rest of the excursions. So excellent package, excellent opportunity as well for the customers, right? The Buena Vista Social Club, the big thing to mention here, if you look at the program for excursions in Varadero, there's nothing to do at night. And the Buena Vista Social Club will bring all of these fantastic music, traditional music that has been developed here in Cuba for so many years, coming into Varadero. So it's a package that will allow our customers to go to this show, to interact with the singers, to enjoy the Cuban, the real this traditional music that represents the core of the Cuban traditions and that date back to the beginning of the 20th century. Even before that, all of this there in the Buena Vista Social Club show that takes place here in Varadero. So the different touch for this one is definitely the fact that it's excellent music. It's something that is worldwide famous, the Buena Vista Social Club, and it's something that customers can do at night, which is different. We don't have any other similar package to be offered here in Varadero for evening activities, right? So this is the 3 destinations that we have covered today. Remember, we have been covering the 2 Cayos, Cayo Coco and Cayo Santa Maria in the center of the island. The main things to mention there geographically is the fact that the Cayos are a bit further from mainland, and also the distinctive touch for these two destinations, the beaches. There are spectacular, unique beaches in Cayo Coco and also in Cayo Santa Maria, and the excursions that we have set up for those 2 destinations are very much based on the beauty and on the charms of these 2 areas, and also the history that we have in Cuba in the main towns, in the main areas that are closer to these 2 destinations. And of course, when we spoke about Varadero, we stressed the fact that it's very close to Havana, a couple of hours away, a lot to do in Varadero, a place, a destination that is a lot more active and has a lot more to offer just in the vicinity of the hotel. So this will be extremely important when we summarize the excursions that we have mentioned today, right? So I hope that it's been useful for you. I hope that it clarifies a bit of information that you will need about these destinations. We will be more than happy to dig further into any specific package or any specific destination or something that is important for you that will leave you in a better position to be able to sell those packages and to be more confident when it comes to selling those excursions. And we'll always be here as the local experts to provide any information that will be useful for you. Tomorrow we're going to go back to Cuba. We're going to go back to these 2 destinations that we mentioned at the beginning, further to the east of the island, Holguin and Santiago de Cuba. It'll be a pleasure for us to show you a little bit more of those 2 destinations in the east. Thank you very much, and we'll see you tomorrow.